What if I were to suggest that you play a key role in the awakening world? And that you are watching this because you have heard the call. We can start right now by opening our hearts and minds. Welcome to the awakening world.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Sacred Sunday Show. I'm Love Coach Scott Katamas, and we are going to ask for the technology gods to smile upon us because I'm having internet issues, and one of our absolute beloved members and today's presenters is also having internet issues. So hopefully everything will work out okay, and if not, be patient with us. I want to welcome everybody who's watching on Facebook and on YouTube. And you know what? Come on into our Zoom room if you can. It's really easy. Just go to globalpeacetribe.com, globalpeacetribe.com, and register. And you can register for free with the promo code of new friend. And this is the third and final show of the weekend. And we are celebrating authors that we love. And I actually have added authors and musical artists that we love. And so let me just share with you who we're going to have with us today. Omashar, our house musician. And this is a very special day because Omashar is going to be co-hosting and taking over the show because I need to check out of my hotel by 11. So he's going to take over in about 45 minutes. And one of our absolute favorite people, Josiane, is with us, coming to us. It's her birthday. Happy birthday, Josiane. Happy birthday. And you're in the French Caribbean?
Yes, in Guadeloupe.
Wow. Oh, well, that's where you're from, yeah?
Right. Yes, my parents are from there. I was born and raised in Paris.
Beautiful. Well, thank you for sharing some of your birthday day with us. And we look forward to, of course, hearing about the wonderful book you wrote. And then our other guest is Dr. Patricia. And she came to us referred by Jennifer Hill, who, of course, has co-hosted multiple shows with me. And really looking forward to your wonderful authoring and getting to know you because she's a new guest for us. So welcome.
Thank you, Scott.
Because it's, we call it the Sacred Sunday Show. And for anybody who's watching for the first time, it's a multi-denominational show. So we celebrate all faiths and all religions and all pathways. And really, our whole point is to encourage all of us to see the divinity in everybody, regardless of race, color, different political persuasion, different beliefs. Let's just all practice seeing the divinity of all. And so I am going to lead a very short little multi-denominational meditation, a chance for us to drop in. And then Omashar has a special flute piece that he's created. And then we're going to chat with Josiane and we're going to chat with Dr. Patricia. So I want to encourage everybody maybe to close their eyes and drop in. And I'm going to add Omashar and Josie Ann and Dr. Patricia to the screen. There we go. So let's just start by taking some deep breaths, breathing at your own pace. Just let the sound of my voice gently guide you. Let's tune into the wonderful universe of you. What's going on with you today? How's your body temple? Is there anything that your body temple needs? More water, food? Are there any particular places in the body that are having some discomfort that maybe you've been ignoring? And if so, just send some love to that, to the knee or the neck or wherever you might notice there's some discomfort. Always honoring our body temple. It serves us so beautifully. How are you feeling emotionally? What are some of the emotions, some of the feelings, some of the sensations that have taken place for you already today? And what makes your day or your life sacred? What's something that you do or something that you experience that brings a greater awareness of divinity, a greater awareness of that which has many names: God, higher self, source, life? Just tuning into that for a moment. And so I'd like to conclude by encouraging each of us just to make our own personal commitment to how we're going to spend today, during the show and after the show, with a little more focus on the sacred today. When you're ready, opening your eyes, and there's Omashar and Josie Ann. And I need to actually change her name so that we see her proper name. And Dr. Patricia. I'm going to turn it over to our wonderful co-host and house musician, Omashar, for a little music.
The
Oh,
Awakening
Michelle, I
World.
loved that. That
Mm,
was just
It
exquisite.
popped in about 2 days ago, and it said, "Here's something for the Sunday Sacred Show, The Awakening World." So there it is.
Beautiful, beautiful. Wow. Oh, and lots of people in the chat box are talking about that. I really want to acknowledge all the people from all over the world. We've got people on Unify who are already wishing you a happy birthday, by the way, Josie Ann. I'm going to bring you on
oh,
spotlight here. We've
mm,
got people from Australia, Brooklyn, New York, California, British Columbia. So it's very, very exciting. And everybody, let us know where you're from. It's always fun to geographically do that. I'm going to put the full spotlight on Josie Ann for a moment. And she doesn't know that I was going to do this, but I have a little tradition that I like, which is when we're celebrating somebody's birthday that we love. I'd love for all of us, as we look at this beautiful soul, I would love for you, Josie Ann, to share your vision for this next year. What do you want to? You're starting a new cycle around the sun. And as she shares her vision for herself for this new year, let's all just bless her. Maximum grace for Josie Ann, knowing that it'll be true. So your Global Peace Tribe is blessing you, and tell us what you want to experience this year.
oh, thank you, Scott, for having me, first of all. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, you're good.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you well.
Okay, I could not hear you. So, wow. This is, I have to say, before I share my vision, this is a special day for all of us. Because in the United States, today is a National Loving Day based on the, it's a landmark for the Supreme Court decision in the Loving versus Virginia case that banned the interracial marriage between, two people from different races, white and black, at the time in 1967. So this is a special day for us, guys. I'm so happy to have found that a couple of years ago. And I'm all about love. So my vision is about love. My vision is about unconditional love and compassion, which is the title of my book. And to understand how every challenge, every single obstacle in our life is about us accepting that it's actually a lesson. It's something amazing for us to evolve, for really our soul evolution. And I'm pledging myself to accept that and to know that the universe has my back every time in order to really enjoy every single moment.
Beautiful. Now, that was all about the big world. What about Josie Ann? Tell us more about what you want to experience in this next year. And thank you for alluding us to what a special day it is for the world, but it's also a special day for you and those of us that love you.
Right.
So what's your vision for yourself for this next year?
So my personal vision is about allowing myself to really grow and contribute to others in a beautiful way. Besides my book, I have another book in store that's coming. That's going to be written really, that I'm working on. So this book is about more the academic way of Josie Ann. The other one is going to be personal. It's going to be about love, of course. And what does it mean for me to be in love every single moment? And what it is not to be in love. what it is to fall out of love, and what it is that when I see somebody else, and how do I express my love? How do I really just be in relationships with myself and with the other person? And so I hope it's going to come up not only in my personal life, right, but also with anybody that I have a relationship with in my private practice, and in life in general, in the world.
Beautiful. So maximum grace for Josie Ann, and for her to experience love in all these beautiful ways. Thank you so much. Thank you,
Thank
Josie.
you. Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go to gallery view, and I want to encourage everybody just to twinkle Josie Ann. So let's all twinkle her and send her love, those of you that are on camera. So thank you. Up, and Eleanor Joy is giving you a pink rose heart. That was very sweet.
Oh, thank you. Super nice.
Well, we're going to hear more from Josie Ann and about her book and about her work. But I do want to introduce our other guest. And this is Dr. Patricia. And welcome. It's so nice to have you with us. And just to share a little bit, she's truly a pioneer in the synthesis of science, holistic health, and contemporary spirituality. I mean, I'm going to say it again. Think about those three qualities: science, holistic health, and contemporary spirituality. Beautiful. Patricia has distinguished herself as a practitioner, an educator, and a research scientist. She's been an influential force in shaping the landscape of healthcare options. She's the founder of Transformational Medicine, which is a whole person approach to health and well-being. So thank you so much for your work in the world, and tell us a little bit more about you and your work, and how maybe we can apply it to our lives.
First of all, thank you, Scott. Again, I'm truly honored to be here with you, to be invited as a guest, to be with all of these wonderful people. So thank you. And thank you also for that very generous introduction.
My pleasure. It's great to have you here.
Thank you. Well, about me and my work. I didn't always get it. I didn't always get what I get now, and what my book is about and what my work is about. I had some very profound experiences early on in my life that at the time were very challenging, were very difficult, that ended up radically transforming how I came to understand reality, the nature of life, and how I came to understand health and healing, and what I would come to learn about Western medicine when I went eventually to medical school. And one of those profound experiences was kind of what I would call an early spiritual awakening gone awry. I started having really intense psychic experiences that were incredible and blissful and uplifting, and led me into this greater reality beyond what our brains experience and what our five senses experience. But I ended up getting locked up, told I was crazy for having those experiences. So that's a long story. I talk a little bit about it in the book, but it did forever change what I understood life to be, and what I understood consciousness to be, and how I understood that we don't necessarily begin when we're born, and we don't disappear when we die. Some aspect of us exists always, infinitely, throughout eternity, existed before our entrance into our bodies and persists after we leave our bodies. I also had some really profound experiences bearing witness to what I thought were miraculous healings beyond the bounds of what Western medicine believed, healings of illnesses that Western medicine thinks are typically terminal. And I traveled and journeyed over the years, learning about healing, about mysticism, about shamanism, about yogic siddhis. And I also, over the years, was faced with my own experiences. I struggled living in a body. I struggled navigating the field of emotions. I had, quote, illnesses and kind of psychic diseases. And through it all, I came to learn that healing and navigating life was really very simple. It was really very, very simple. And it really simply boils down to what many of the ancient wisdom traditions teach us and what contemporary spirituality teaches us, that it's about really being present with what is, no matter what that is. And it took me years to get that. And even being present with dis-ease and being present and surrendering to disease. And it's by being present with what is that we can shift what is. And I think I should stop right there. I've been talking a little bit longer than I thought I would. It was a longer response to a short question. So hope that was a little helpful.
I'm really appreciating what you shared and the trauma of having a spiritual awakening and then being judged for it as opposed to supported for it. That really shook me up as I imagined that experience. And I'm imagining that probably because you went through that, that's why you have maybe gone into always wanting to make sure that people get the proper support for what's going on with them. Would that be accurate?
Oh, yes, most definitely. And I ended up doing a little bit of training in psychiatry. I'm not a psychiatrist. When we travel through medical school, and this was before medical school, when we travel through medical school, we rotate through all the different specialties. So when I rotated and did some training in psychiatry, I could appreciate that somebody who was hearing voices or seeing imaginary beings that others couldn't see wasn't crazy. It was a very important aspect of their personal experience. So absolutely, yes, but especially with regards to the field of feelings or the field of emotions, with navigating just being human in a body. And that's something that unfortunately Western medicine has lost touch with. We used to be aligned with the ancient roots. Hippocrates even said it is more important to know the person that has the disease than the disease the person has. But we've lost touch with that. So my experience, even though it was pretty horrific at the time because I had to drop out of college, I had a lot of shame around it all. You know, nobody wanted to, you know, my family didn't want people to know what was going on with me, that I got locked up. And it was very traumatic at the time. It ended up being an incredible gift because I had these incredibly blissful experiences of this greater reality. And then my literal incarceration, my imprisonment, literally I was taken to the ER against my will. An injection was shoved in my butt. I was driven up to the whatever floor, I remember which floor it was, to the psych ward, and you know, numbed, put on 4 different medications that effectively numbed me. They really anesthetized my mind and numbed my body. And that in itself was another really powerful experience because I know what it's like to be on those meds. I know what it's like to be kind of a prisoner of psychopharmacology. And yes, another long answer to a short question. It deeply affected how I've come to be with people and come to be honored to bear witness to their journeys and to be present without any sort of judgment. And Western medicine, unfortunately, as I said, has lost touch with those roots. And because of the fantastic advancements in technology, industrialization, we've made tremendous strides in what we can do in terms of improving and prolonging life, but we've really lost touch with the nature of human beings and the nature of being human, shall we say. So.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I'm going to bring Josie Ann on as well, because it's interesting how it's played out that you're both on the show tonight. Josiane's website is integrativewellness.com. And so here we have Dr. Patricia, who does transformational medicine, and we have Josiane, who does integrative wellness. So I think both of you actually have a very interesting commonality in really, and I know Josiane fairly well, and she brings so much love to her work, but she also has worked a lot with people going through serious trauma. And there's, so here we have these two wonderful women that are angels, earth angels out of the world, helping people going through trauma. So Josiane, what comes up for you as you hear Dr. Patricia's story?
Yes, it's so interesting because we're both from the more linear medical model, right? Coming from med school, and I was a mental health counselor, and knowing how we have to depart from this model that's quite patriarchal and very limited and not opening to other healing modalities, right? So there's one side, the Western medicine, the other side is the Eastern healings. And then in the middle, what comes up in my book is more about the indigenous and African ancient traditions that we have left out, literally left out of ourselves, because we are all energy, all connected, interconnected. Wherever we are connected with everyone. So it's so important to know where we're coming from. And literally, my book is about that. It's about how, by respecting and honoring others. So here in the United States, it's mostly to recognize how African American couples have suffered, and how this suffering also affect other groups, not only white people, but also groups all over the world, and how we see each other in our identity and try to model a reality that's not ours because we are non-white, and how it affects the way we love, the way we pick our relationship, our partners, and the way we see the world. Our lens is totally tarnished in a way from who we are in our essence. And the book is about relating to this, not only to researchers and practitioners, but also to the world in a way. How do we do ourselves? And Patricia mentioned it. We are relationships. We live in a web of relationships. And because of that, it is so important to really not judge first, in order to let in what the other person or group has to offer. And I had to go back in the trenches after years of doing quantitative research. And through my fellowship with the SAMHSA, the Substance Abuse Mental Health Association, and the American Family for Marriage and Family Therapy, I went, and I really wanted, because I was so entrenched into this medical model, show the quantitative aspect of relationships. And so I was looking for my variables, and I said, wait, something is missing in Earth. What is this missing that we don't get along? And what I found out was, okay, we're all talking about spirit, mind, and body as dimensions of human systems. And by systems, I mean how every part is connected with the other one, and that interactions brings a whole. And that whole, you can see it not only in nature with the different elements, but also within our body system as humans. And basically, I saw, while I was trying to do my research, I found out that in a couple system, or what we call dyad, there is also that same similarity of the spirit, mind, and body, but it translates in a different way, which is the spirituality, the compassionate love, and the sexuality. And that's what you find in a couple system, at least in an intimate relationship. So I studied the hetero sexual partners, but also all type of different relationships in intimacy comes along. And while I didn't know how I was going to show up from my quantitative research into my qualitative research. So I said, you know what, the only way to find out is really to dive in and go ask couples. So I went and asked various couples, African-American couples, because I was thinking, you know, I can't find them in the scientific literature. And of course, I could not find them because they were not in therapy, they were not in science, and yet they must have been doing something right. And in order to know, so I had to go back and ask them, how are you managing? What is it like for you to adapt through millennia, not only centuries, but millennia of being the first modern humans on Earth, and to have that lineage that we all have within ourselves, right? And yet we neglect that part. In science, we're looking at what's wrong versus what's right. And I wanted to know from a different lens, instead of looking and asking them, hey, tell me, you know, how painful is your pain? How do you manage with your suffering? I really wanted to ask them, how about your strength? What do you get from your family lineage? And that's what I did. I literally went and asked couples, you know, how do you do intimacy? And what is it like to have your qualities and the qualities that you inherited from your ancestors? And that was based on Judith Lando. She made she's a physician. She used to be a psychiatrist, and she became a family marriage and a family therapist. And she noticed that in case of mass trauma, people actually recover fairly quickly if they can also stay connected to their past, and then internalize these stories of the past in order to change and transform their trauma in order to have a better future. And that's what I did. I asked the couple, so what is it like? And they started talking about how they saw themselves through the eyes of their ancestors. And they went back not 1, 2, 3 generations, but 4, 5 generations or longer. And they were seeing themselves imbued with these super qualities. And it was so beautiful because they didn't expect my question. They expected me asking them, what's wrong with you guys? And I was like, hey, we're going to bypass that in order not to what we call bounce back, you know, when you're going through trauma. And trauma means injury or wound, right? It's a Greek root. And but it's part of life. You know, a branch could be broken or could be hurt and then come back. Why? Because there's sun, because there are different elements coming back to give you another fresh air, breath of air. And it's the same for us. When I asked them that question, they realized how it was so important for them to be connected to that past. And in that past were literally the diamonds, the gems that trickle down into their reality in the present moment. And Patricia mentioned how it's all about being present. Yes, and they were presencing. Their presence helped me being present with them. And really, my presence, I had to suspend everything in order to hear what they have to say and not to change it because of my learning that medical model and to see the brilliance of their adaptation strategies. So I was able to capture through the interviews some very necessary strategies that they shared with me. And one of them, the first one that I got, was how they respected themselves. Every single partner was able to understand it was my partner and my relationship, which is so important. And it's part of the book actually that I have here. And I forgot to mention the title, which is Compassionate Love in Intimate Relationships. And there's a long subtitle, which is The Integration Process of Sexual Mastery, Racism, and Resilience. And they literally understood that this triad, let's say, is actually the strongest element in nature, the strongest form, the triangle. So if you only see two, so when we see one individual in therapy, it's actually not just an individual. The individual in the typical traditional model is, a medical model is one person, right? You're seeing one person. But in system thinking, we're seeing one individual with the whole family lineage. And these couples were seeing themselves as one partner, the other partner, their relationship, and all their ancestors that were with them because of the qualities that they saw themselves. So it was I don't know if I should go on and go on with the strategies, but it was amazing in listening to the way they share how their qualities could not have been, how can I say, they each saw some type of strength that was still present because of the struggles that their ancestors went through. And these struggles is exactly what Judith Landorf was talking about, how in times of mass trauma, we can survive and really thrive when we bring that connection with the past in the present moment, in order to be present and to know it's not about just an individual, it's about the family and the community, which is an African tradition to think not. So in Europe, right, and I'm from France, so we always learn in high school. So I think, therefore I am, right, from Descartes. It's a Cartesian model of thinking. But in Africa and the roots of philosophy and spirituality, it's all about I am because we are, which is the Ubuntu philosophy. And that is quite alien to the Western world, not to the collective nations, but to the individualistic nations. And the book is about integration. How to integrate not only spirituality with sexuality in our world right now, because this link is missing, and I call it in the book sacred link. It's a sacred link that's helping us to elevate to higher dimensions when we are in unity within our sexual dimension with our partners. And it brings so much that it is first of all, it is the strongest force in the universe, right? That sexual energy that allows us to be one and it's about conception. It's about how we become one. And it's not about just sexuality. It's about our spirit that comes in, and through the African model, it's Ka, it's that breath. And
Beautiful. I'm going to come in for a moment, Josiane, because you're sharing so much wonderful, wonderful wisdom with us. And I have to leave in 2 minutes, and I want to make sure that we go to your website. And then I'm going to turn over to Omar Shah. But her website is beautiful. It's theintegrativewellness.com. Make sure you get the in there. And there's so many beautiful things. This wonderful video with her and the children, her 4 pillars of the love model. And her services offered. She does couples therapy, parenting coaching, premarital partnership, and infidelity recovery. So you can book a consultation with her, learn all about her. She provides a free consultation to get started. So thank you so much for all that you're sharing and your passion and your enthusiasm. It's so cool. And I'm going to actually bring on Dr. Patricia again for a minute because I want to make sure that people know about her website. And because that's part of what I do here. And hers, it is so interesting, the similarities. She has a wonderful Facebook page, first of all, Dr. Trish MD. So I just want to acknowledge that. So definitely you can go and, many of you are watching on Facebook right now. So that's an alternative way of learning about her. And then you can also go to her actual website, which is transformationalmedicine.org, transformationalmedicine.org. And there's her book, because we are celebrating authors that we love. We saw Josie Ann's book, and Dr. Patricia's book is called Beyond Medicine, a physician's revolutionary prescription for achieving absolute health and finding inner peace. And I'm just so grateful to both of you for the wonderful work that you do in the world. And I apologize for having to, this is the very first time in 2.5 years of doing this show that I've got to leave early.
So what we'll do is I'll play a song when you leave, and then I'll bring Patricia and Josie Ann back up perhaps for some final words. And then we have your interview with Andrew Harvey to play, which is really cool. And then a beautiful film called Kabir. It's about half an hour for anybody who would like to stay after that. We'll play it at the end of the show. And I've watched some of it. It's so rich and diverse. It's recorded, I think, primarily in India by also Andrew Harvey.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Big love. I apologize for having to leave early, but you are in the wonderful hands of Amisher and these 2 magnificent women.
So I know that Scott is going to be continuing to listen on his Zoom iPhone. So I'm going to play a brand new song now I thought I'd keep for this Sunday. And it's called Still We Wonder Why. And I thought I'd debut it here because why not, right? And let's just move all this so I can see my lyrics. And okay.
So deep breath. Sacred Sunday. Scott is off to a Soul Play Festival plus a grief and counseling session before. So still we wonder why. Beautiful.
Light brighter than the sun. Here where life is one. All the past falls like rain into the soil of future dreams. Love, the footprint in the sand,
shining like the stars, and the way is suddenly so clear, and we know what has to be done. And still we wonder why flowers keep on blooming, the stardust in our eyes lifts us all to a higher plane, a deeper truth, our rightful place now. Still we wonder why. And life, a promise to fulfill. Now a vision is revealed, and the blessing of who we really are can be felt throughout our world. And still we wonder why flowers keep on blooming, the stardust in our eyes lifts us all to a higher plane, our rightful place, a deeper truth now. Still we wonder why. Life, a promise to fulfill. Now a vision is revealed, and still we wonder why.
Well, there's that. And cool. So, how interesting for us all. I am now the official host of this beautiful production, and I'd like to actually bring back on Patricia and Hosian for maybe some final words before we bring up the Andrew Harvey video that he recorded with Scott for this show. So, Patricia, what have you got to say to our beautiful beings today on this Sacred Sunday?
Oh, first, Omashar, I want to say thank you for that just beyond words beautiful music.
Brand new.
It was really transcendent for me. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I'm wondering, could we, is there a way we could get the lyrics? I'd love to be able to read the lyrics again.
You can. It'll be recorded soon. I'm not too sure what genre to bring it out in, because you could bring it out in dancey or funky, or this one is kind of like, I imagine, has Paisley behind it. But it's really interesting hearing your earlier life story and your challenge and the hospital and the incarceration, so to speak, and the injections, because I went through that myself.
Oh, wow.
And I had an awakening, and the people around me didn't understand it. I just needed to be left, by a tree, and to pass through. But they intervened and did something rather similar to me that they did with you. And so I'm having to find an immense forgiveness in myself to let that go, because what else do you do with it? Otherwise it becomes a shadow. So
thank you for sharing that. Yeah, for me too. I didn't understand it when it was happening, and I told the wrong people the experiences I was having. And interestingly enough, I was really into music at the time. I was studying physics and music. They were my first two loves. I never really liked biology that much, even though I went to become a doctor. But I had a music teacher, I was studying East Indian music, and he and his wife just wanted to take me to the shore to ground my energy. But I didn't get it. So, you know, I believe everything happens for a reason. And that was my destiny, if you will, to have that experience, because it was such an incredible teacher. It took me many, many years to let go of it, to forgive. And I still have moments of shame around it all. I write about it in the book, but it's easier to write about it in my book than to talk about it to people. So there are people in my life who don't even know about that. So.
Yeah, no, I would only bring it up probably to this audience here, because we all have some kind of metaphysical understanding, and things happen that to change and shift and lift us, and nobody can understand really except us. So yeah. So thank you so much, Patricia, for being with us, and I'm guessing that I'll bring up Josiane, like to say a few words, and then we'll get into the Andrew Harvey video, our next guest. And those who'd like to stay a little further, we have an Andrew Harvey half-an-hour Indian video, which should be Kabir, which should be amazing to watch as well. So thank you, Patricia, so much for being with us. And look forward to the next time you are on The Awakening Will, which I'm sure you will be. I'm sure Scott will invite you back.
Thank you, I'm sure. Thank you.
Blessings. And Josiane, my sweetheart.
Well, thank you for having us, Masha. And your music is always going straight to my heart also. It's so beautiful. And I can feel your entire soul when you're playing. So it's amazing. It's really amazing. And I signed up for your for your music.
You did. I saw you signed up to my mailing list. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Expect no mail except very rarely.
Yeah, I don't accept all of them, but yours is amazing.
Know, right?
So yeah.
We get so much.
Yes, no, you're welcome. This is such a great venue, just to be able to feel we can all transcend our reality and create together something so different than what is right now. And the book is about that. It's about loving beyond, loving each other beyond what we think, our assumptions, our expectations of each other, and allowing ourselves to just be human. You know, in our humanity.
Yeah. And happy birthday, my goodness.
Oh, yes, thank you.
21 today, love it.
I wish, thank you so much.
Well, and so cool.
Patricia, I just wanted to say it's amazing. I've been looking through your website also, and I really I will reach out to you.
Josiane, I would love to. I loved everything that you shared earlier. It was so rich, and I have so many resonant thoughts about what you shared about healing and about the experiences of trauma and how community and connection and love can heal us.
Yes.
And I see life is really about a journey of healing, of opening to healing. We all basically come in wounded, or we become wounded, and then we get sick with disease or disease. So I loved, you said so much. I wanted to take notes. I didn't take notes, but I would love to connect with you after this. So definitely let's do that.
Yeah. Yes, let's do that. Awesome.
Yay. Cool.
And I'm going to sign up for your list too, Omashar.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, so you better send some emails.
So I can now see how Scott, how he balances plates, because you have, like, as a host, you have a trillion things happening in front of you, and you're like balancing all these plates. And so the next one I have to go is to say goodbye to Josiane and Patricia. Maybe you'd like to stay and watch the next little thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to mute you both, and I'm not too sure. I guess we can only see you now. So
I'm not muting yet.
So can you see me? You can see me? Good. Good. Because I don't see anything in the screen here. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring on Andrew Harvey's video. And I would like to introduce Scott and Andrew Harvey. So let's see what happens here. There it is. Excuse me. There we go. All good?
We can hear it.
You cannot hear?
There's no audio.
Sorry, guys. How do you get the audio on this thing? Sorry, guys. How do you get the audio on this thing? So you can still hear me, but you can't hear this.
Just reading what Chrysalis wrote in the chat. She wrote, thank you, Chrysalis. When you first share the screen, you have to go to advanced settings and click share audio.
Right.
I don't know if that's helpful, possibly.
Well, I got on share screen.
Somebody is unmuted. Can you guys mute yourself, please? Thank you. Masha, can you mute the person?
I can, but everything has disappeared off my screen. Okay. Sorry
You
about this,
might-
guys. It's just
It's
life.
okay. I was about to say you can play more music.
I could.
Or we can talk more between
You can
Patricia
talk
and
more
I.
if you like. I'm just going to try this once more. It's very embarrassing, but there it is. So we're going to go there. I'm going to bring it here. Well, there it is. I don't see that this is going to work.
It's not on your Zoom, maybe.
I'm looking on that.
Well, okay.
Darn it.
I hear it very, very faintly.
You do?
Right.
Yes. Does anybody else?
Yes.
It's just very low. And somebody, Nancy wrote to everybody. She said, I remember Harvey's sound was turned off. Keep playing. It'll come back on in as solid minute. So I do hear him now, but it's so low. It's hard for me to make out what he's saying.
You know what? It might be. Yes. You know exactly what we're going to do. We're just going to try something. And just give me a thumbs up if you can hear this.
Of the obvious erupting global darkness suffering at a very great depth. I have known for 20 years that this moment would come and that we would in our lifetimes reach the time in which we would need to go to the depths of ourselves to find at those depths deathless consciousness and deathless courage. And all my work in the last 20 years have been devoted to this moment. And one of the most important, I believe, aspects of the work that I've been trying to do is that I've been summoning back and invoking the very great mystic guides that I know have helped me stay strong, and I know will help you stay strong and luminous and exalted and hopeful, even as this necessary, terrifying evolutionary process continues. The greatest of these guides I have discovered for myself is India's greatest mystical poet, Kabir. Kabir lived in the 15th century, woke up to the knowledge that we were in Kali Yuga, knew that Kali Yuga would take us to this desperate moment, but knew something that I am begging you to align with at the deepest level of your whole being, knew that the birth canal of a new humanity is a devastating dark night, and knew that if we could align ourselves with the severity of this process, we would be born into a new divine humanity. For me, this is the key to everything. This is the key to the work I do. This is the key to the true meaning of sacred activism. And this is the key to getting through this horrific time with calm, with faith, with focus, with passion, with compassion, knowing that we are in the throes of a process we cannot control, but knowing that the destined, ordained goal of this process is not the annihilation of the human race, but the birth of a new human race, what I call an engoldened human race, a transfigured human race, a divine human race. There is no greater guide to this tremendous ordeal and birth process than Kabir, who lived it in his own life as a pioneer of this new divine humanity. And I have just produced a book for all of you for this moment called Engoldenment, with these three unbelievably happy Kabiris sitting on a stone steps in Benares. It's called Engoldenment, A Year with Kabir, and it is a Kabir poem for every day of the year, so that every single day you can get an injection of the wisdom that knows the truth about our time, our process.
I cannot tell you how much Kabir has meant to me and continues to mean to me, and how overjoyed I am that I live to be able to give to all sincere seekers everywhere this greatest of all the prophet mystics, this greatest revolutionary of evolution, Kabir. So what I'm going to do is just read you 4 very inspiring, exalted poems about the new human, the new divine human, the engoldened divine human that we are in the middle of birthing in this agony. Please listen, and please keep this vibrant, rich, holy ideal alive in your heart mind, because you'll find that if you do, with Kabir's help, you'll be able to go through the inevitable pain, the inevitable suffering that in any birthing process always involves. Don't be frightened of the suffering. It's not the suffering of the end, it's the suffering of the birth. And as any mother knows, and I've spoken to so many mothers about the birthing process, it can be absolutely nightmarish. But when you know that it's because you're birthing something amazing and new and unprecedented, then with spiritual practice, you find the guts, the calm, the faith, the trust, to go through whatever you have to go through, so that the divine plan to birth you into engoldenment, the engoldenment of the mind, the engoldenment of the heart, and the engoldenment of the body can be fulfilled. But don't believe me, I might be on track. Believe the greatest poet the world has seen with Rumi. The greatest.
This is awesome. Thank you so much, Andrew. This is really, really.
Can I read these 2 great poems of engoldenment?
Absolutely. Can't wait.
This is essential for us now. Kabir is the oxygen of our survival with grace through the dark night. And if you want, and I beg you to want it, not because I want to buy property in Malibu, I'm perfectly happy with my tiny condo, but because I want you to have the help that he's given me. And I know that what in my life has happened is that Rumi came first to prepare me, to soften me up, to receive Kabir. And that's what's been happening in the global stage. We've had this wonderful Rumi Renaissance, which has opened so many people to the divine beloved. And now, at our moment of terrible danger, Kabir's voice is coming in to give us the skinny in the most fierce and glorious way. So for the price of a rather mediocre breakfast, if you order engoldenment from Amazon, you can have Kabir for life, for this period, for all that we're about to go through, and he will keep you steady and strong as he has kept me. And God knows it's been hard, but I've had him in me and around me, sustaining me. And I have wanted with every cell of my body to allow you to have that sacred companionship by this great heroic pioneer of the next stage of our evolution. So let me read you just 2 wonderful poems about what's happening to all of us, if only we can align ourselves with it. This is December 8th and December 9th. When lies and deceit ran out of my body's house, I realized the Lord in all his splendor. Rain came down in torrents. After the wild storm, torrents of divine love drenched me, body and soul. Then, O Kabir, the sun soared out, the sun of glory, the sun of realization, and darkness dissolved forever. That's what's happening. The lies and deceits are being squeezed out in this horrible process of the body of humanity, so that this great torrential blessing can descend on those who've prepared themselves for it so that they can leap into the arms of the beloved and be in golden. And when you are in golden, or the process beginning of engoldenment, you will understand this poem, because this is the poem when someone gets that they're being utterly transfigured by the miracle of the beloved's grace. And you'll notice that in the first line, he says, conch, gong, trumpet, and that's the sound of an Indian temple. And what he's talking about is the moment when you realize that all the suffering and all the pain and all the horror have led not to the end, but to an unimaginable blessing of being in golden in heart, mind, soul, and body, remade, reborn, renewed. We need this like we need oxygen. It's the truth. And we need to make that truth adamantine in our souls so that we
Absolutely.
can.
Absolutely.
This is for you, Scott. It's for everyone listening. It's for all human beings. And it's especially for the work that you do with such heroic courage every weekend, offering ways through, offering modalities, offering practices, offering different voices for people to claim their spirit. People like you are midwives in this great birth, and I bow to you for all that you give me in your love and loyalty, but all you give all beings. So I'm dedicating this in the name of Kabir to you.
Thank you so much.
Conch, gong, trumpet, hear them thrilling through the divine palace of your body, as at last, at long last, you merge with your eternal husband. Let love's mad joy surge through your whole being in wave after wave. This is what you were born for, and this is what you died to live. This is what we are now dying to be able to be empty enough, humbled enough, reverent enough, loving enough, hungry and needful enough to be able to receive the torrential golden grace that is pouring down upon us to transfigure us. This is not something I believe. This is something I know. This is something I know of this process through the grace of Kabir. And I know that if you can truly align yourself with this in whatever way is most natural to you, on whatever path you are on, with the help of Kabir as a massive infusion of grace and energy, nothing will be impossible for us, even in these seemingly impossible times. It always gets the very darkest and most grueling before the impossible possible dawn. So never, ever, ever lose hope. This is the time to give our whole being to the mystery of the birth of a new humanity.
Andrew, as always, thank you so much. And I, of course, want to take people to Amazon. You can see where I bought it myself on December 9th, just before the last time I spoke with you. It is a beautiful book. Many of our people who bought it when we shared have talked about how amazing it is. But for people who missed it after you've just heard Andrew's beautiful, passionate plea for us to drop into this wisdom at a time that we need it. And Andrew, who's been
if I was Jeff Bezos, which I'm not, unfortunately, I would just buy this book and give it to every single human being over the age of 18. Because the one thing that I know you know this about Scott, about Kabir, is that he's so simple. He honed it down. And he spoke in the street language of his time. He was a poor Muslim weaver. He was a blue-collar guy who happened to be divinely transfigured. And that's his genius. He speaks to everyone so nakedly, simply, fiercely, clearly, lovingly, that anyone can get it. So whatever path you are on, turn to this tremendous clarion trumpet voice of your own deepest possibility. Why waste the greatest guide we've ever had at the moment when we need that guidance like oxygen? Please, please don't miss Kabir.
Andrew, thank you so much for your passion, your wisdom, and always directing our tribe, our Great Global Peace Tribe, towards the truth and the wisdom that we need. Thank you so much.
Thank you, my darling. Thank you. It's my honor and joy, as you can imagine.
Wow, how about that? That was amazing. And can you hear me?
Yes, we can. You were
Okay.
amazing too. You did it.
But how phenomenal it was. Andrew Harvey, I have an even deeper respect for him now. And I felt it because in my life, I know it's true what he just said about everything being squeezed out of the system, out of the matrix, that it is not truth, it is not the greatest light. And I find that in myself, it's manifesting like I need a huge purge in my body. Because every day I do my best to stay centered, because I'm really on the path right now, and you know, the glorious golden light is coming in. We do have to prepare ourselves, and there's that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it brings the idea that I gathered from the couples, which is everything is conception. Everything is really, I will say, it's immaculate conception. And when we allow ourselves to die and to come back into a new birth, that's what comes up into our connectedness with each other. And it's so important to know that, not to be afraid. Even if you're afraid, actually, just go through it. That's the only way to have that rebirth and to create something amazing that we all, you know, can share with mindfulness.
Exactly. And so where are we now in time? It's there's no time, is there? 12:20. So Andrew Harvey has prepared this beautiful movie called Kabir. It's 35 minutes in length. And when we complete here, let's have a quick chat with Patricia. Then I'll play the movie. And if you want to watch it, please stay and watch it. And we'll close up afterwards. But of course, if you don't want to, you can watch the replay, which should be out on Monday or Tuesday, depending on Scott's schedule. So what do you have to say, Patricia, perhaps about what Andrew Harvey just presented?
Oh, gee, Mashar. You know, it's such a reflection of what we forget when we come in. We forget that we're all one. Mm-hmm. We forget that we are all one and that we are love. And you know, it's my own personal experience, my own personal journey, that healing is about coming to remember our essential nature. And our essential nature is peace. And our essential nature as love is love. As trite and as that may sound, it really is peace. Our essential nature is absolute peace. Our essential nature is absolute oneness and connection with everyone. Our essential nature is love. And that is how healing happens, when we can embrace that essential nature that we are. Well, we're in fear. We experience fear. We experience trauma. We experience injury and wounding, like Josiane shared. We're in fear, and the healing, and I'm speaking from this perspective because I'm a physician and my work is about helping individuals heal. But individual healing is really about global healing. We can heal ourselves, and we must heal ourselves in order to heal the world. And the healing of ourselves is coming to know that oneness, that connection, that peace that is our eternal and essential nature, and that love that is the nature of our being. But it's through healing our wounds that we experience that. the wounds that can create physical illness, because all physical illness is rooted in emotional issues. They're always an emotional component. And healing the literal psychic or emotional dis-ease is healing. It's moving from fear to love, from fear to faith, if you will, from fear to knowing that there's no separation between me and all of us that are on this Zoom today, between me and everything that is in the universe, sentient and non-sentient. And it's by dissolving that fear, by healing that fear, that we can achieve what Kabir's poetry so beautifully describes.
Yes, indeed. Phenomenal, beautiful.
So, Amishar, I can't see you. We see your beautiful image. Well, we see your beautiful image with the mountains behind you.
Oh, really?
But we don't see you. Oh, there you are. Yay.
Yes. I tell you what, another two of instant host, and I'll have this down. I really appreciate us hanging in, but it's really important because, you know, there's a web. I can feel all of us on this call and all who are coming in, and you know, we're awakening together. This is not an individual process, even though it does seem like an incredibly lonely individual process for me sometimes. There's virtually nobody in the world that I can talk openly like this to, not even my own son. And just because the understanding is not there and their life is in a different direction. So I'm so grateful for Scott, and we're going to bless him in his absence. And he needs some free me time so he can kick up his heels. And he's brought together thousands and thousands of us on this global peace tribe, Awakening World Saturday Night Live soliloquy, let's say. And so blessings, Scott, and blessings, Patricia, and blessings, Hosiane. And I will now play the Kabir movie, which is, as I say, it's 35 minutes. It's beautiful. It's really colorful, filmed in India. And so we shall say, remember, next week is weekend is World Unity Weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I know Scott has an amazing set of presenters and musicians for next week as well, World Unity Week, including, of course, me. And I'm patting myself now. That's you know, first for me, and getting over myself. And so thank you so much for watching. And I will put on Kabir, and let's see how quickly it takes me to put that on. Goodbye. Hello. Love you all. Go.
I'm signing off, but I love you all. Patricia, so blessed.
Thank you, Josiane. Likewise, definitely. We will connect.
We will connect for sure. Bye.
I'm going to stay for the movie, but I have to go to make a pit stop, so I'm going to disappear momentarily. But I want to thank everybody.
By the time I get it started up, it'll be like that. So. Okay.
I want to thank everybody for being on. I've been reading the chats, and I love everybody's comments, and it's just a very nurturing time with all of you. So thank you, and thank you, Amishar, for hosting.
You are very welcome.
And I'm going to go make my pit stop. Otherwise, I'm not going to make it through the movie.
Exactly that. You're going to make it through the night. So those of you who are on screen, when I start the movie, if you can hear the sound, please thumbs up. And then otherwise, I'll have to do what I did before, which was plan B. So. All right. Oh.
Kabir is
India's greatest mystical poet and one of humanity's supreme and sublime treasures. His teachings are for everyone. In one of his famous couplets he says, Kabir stands in the open marketplace and seeks the welfare of all human beings. He is neither friend nor enemy to anyone. What Kabir wanted was to teach us all an authentic religion of the awakened heart. He wanted to turn us all from the empty ritualism and dangerous dogmatic squabbles of religion, and to show all of us the inner path that leads to union with the divine and the transfiguration of human into divine life, where we will all experience what he means when he says, I am neither a Hindu, nor a Muslim, nor a Buddhist, nor a Christian. I am a puppet made of the 5 elements, in which the mysterious one lives. We made this film in Varanasi, the new name for Benares, while on our sacred earth journey to India. We don't really know when Kabir was born, but we know he was born to a poor Muslim weaver family and lived in Benares as a weaver himself until the very end of his life. We know that he died in 1518. We know that he woke up to the glory of his identity with the divine early in his life and continued to live as a weaver, pouring out hundreds of mystical poems to lead others to God. And we know that if we can listen to him, our whole lives will be transformed, and we will know who we are, who everyone else is, who is living in everything that is. And in that knowledge, we will be hopeful, joyful, tender, humble, compassionate to all life. I spent 5 years in the presence, the unremitting presence of Kabir. And what he has given me is beyond any of my words to express, because he has come into me and blessed and scourged and broken me and begun to awaken me. What thanks of mine could ever be enough for such a gift beyond price? What I have discovered is that Kabir is far more than a poet. He is an universal initiatory field, as expansive as Rumi and as embodied, radical and ferocious as Jesus. He is for me nothing less than the voice of the evolutionary truths of all of us, and its piercing love. And in our dangerous, tragic, amazing times, when we find everything that we love threatened, but an astounding new birth possible of an embodied divine humanity, we have never needed to hear him more, or been more ready to hear him. voice, friends. See truth while you're still in a body. Find your own place. When you're dead, what house will you have? Oh, my friend, you just don't get your one true chance. Don't you see, in the end, no one belongs to you? Kabir says it's brutal, this turning wheel of time. My Father is the absolute Godhead, and my Mother is the embodied Godhead, and I and their divine child dancing on their burning dance Into that music, my mind vanished, absorbed in his feet, all grief dissolved. From the essence word accord, and on it the swan rises and soars free. On emptiness mountain, cymbals shimmer, nectar rains down drops of love. Kabir says, Seeker, listen, hear, each taste brings bliss. ocean of joy. Don't go away thirsty. Be careful. Death destroys hope. A stream of sweet water runs close at hand. Drink from there. Abandon all thirst for mirage water. Drink and keep drinking from love's pure spring. Lovers of God, drink love's nectar, so love of God lives always in them. Kabir says, be one of those who drowns desire and fear in sober, steady bliss. I cherish at heart what in this world makes me live a limitless life. Beloved Lord, either I am crazy or this world of yours is. The very worship you don't care about is the one everyone's trapped in. About the worship you love, hardly anyone knows anything. To love you and no one else, that's the worship that delights you. That is why the soul was parted from you, to return to you through adoration. Why get caught in empty formalities? I sing the glory of my Lord. I sing of what I have seen myself. The one who reaches the rank of lover is the Lord's true worshipper. What is always soaring free from any dogma, any concept, cannot itself be realized by someone who isn't free. Hunger for the fruits of action, you end up the slave of bondage. The one who says God's name day and night, night and day, will come to know with God's knowledge, see with God's eyes, live in God's freedom. Himself is a guest in your heart. Why are you still so desperately seeking Him? Offer your whole heart to Him before night darkens it. How many eons you've waited for this momentous chance. Go now near to His heart. Offer yourself selflessly. He'll give you an ocean of ecstasy and explain to you Himself love's mysteries and essence. Kabir says, How could I ever express how blessed I am to have won his unshakable love? That person who's kind, who practices righteousness, who remains at peace in the world's madness, who feels all sentient beings as his or her own self. This person attains the deathless one and is accompanied always by the true God.
Well, holy smoke. Wasn't that an amazing presentation? Can you hear me? Good. Anyone can talk if you want to unmute. That's all good. And I didn't want it to end. I was almost sad that it ended. What did you think, Patricia, or feel, should I say?
Oh, it was very rich for me, and many feelings, emotions, thoughts arose. I lived in India for a while, and I wrote this in the chat. I found it to be a land of many contradictions, of materialism and spirituality and poverty and deprivation and abundance, and many contradictions living side by side. But there's something that struck me that was so different from my experience in the West, and that in the West we identify so much with our personhood, being individuals. And in India, at least for me as a Westerner, as an out-of-towner, it felt so apparent that there was a communion of oneness of all these beings, in spite of what felt like really extreme contradictions of circumstance, of materialism, of spirituality. Like I said, walking hand in hand, there was this sense of community, nevertheless, of oneness, where the collective was what was important and meaningful, not the individual. And somehow that diluted what my personal experience was. And there was some sharing going back and forth in the chat about whether the film was happy or holy or depressing or whatever to view. But I found that those the sense of oneness, of community, kind of dissolved all of that. And at least my experience of India, as opposed to my experience of being a Westerner, where we're so focused on the individual person rather than the collective.
Right. Yeah, it's travel which has blown all my stereotypes as well. I spent I've been to India 4 or maybe 5 times, but at least 4. First time I went there, I hated it. I thought, this is madness. I'm never coming back again. And then I got invited back again, and then it became, I love it. I love the diversity so much. And exactly that, it strips away any way of working in the world, and you realize that it is all interconnected, and it's working as one sovereign organism. It's beautiful. And so thank you, Andrew Harvey. And I'm going to wrap us up now. It's I'm in Colorado. It's 4 minutes past 1. And thank you so much, all of us, for remaining on this call, because it's been a long one. But I love these Sacred Sunday mornings. They touch me to the core. I lived in Hawaii for many years. I was the music director for the Unity Church of Kauai, and so this is kind of my not church. I want to use a different word than that, but kind of my church on a Sunday. And so please, thank you so much, Patricia. Thank you, Hosian. Thank you, Scott. I hope you're enjoying getting your shaking your booty at the Soul Play this afternoon. And please join us next week for the Week of Unity culmination show. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the shows again, 7:30 Friday night, Pacific Standard Time. Thank you so much. Blessings. I love you all. And I know that is a mutual feeling for us here. Yes, Nancy. Awesome. And thank you for, I don't know, just surfing with me with all the learning process that I've been through today. So blessings. Love you.
Thank you, Omashar. Thank you. And thank you to everyone who was participating, and for all of your personal shares and all of your insights during the chat. That was very, very meaningful for me to read. Kind of kept us and brought us and kept us together in a way.
Exactly.
So thank you.
So namaste.
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 Namaste. No, that's great.
Bye.
Ciao.
See you Friday.
Thank you.
Have a great week, everybody.
Bye. Blessings and
Progress strong.
gratitude.